My friends, good day. The Soham Parekh case is shaking up the startup world. It has opened a Pandora's box, a can of worms, as they say in English, a box of worms. And actually, it's a scandal involving people who are engaging in what's called overemployment. So what is overemployment? Is it overwork? Actually, it's people who manage to get hired for remote work at 4, 5, 6, even 8 companies at the same time. That's the thing. They work at a bunch of companies at the same time. Some manage to make 3,000 euros a day. Others have combined salaries that exceed 1 million per year. And a lot of them do nothing. They don't work at all. Stay with me. I'm going to tell you this absolutely terrible story. Actually, Mr. Soham Parekh worked at a startup a year ago, and the chief executive officer of the startup, the founder, found out that he was also working somewhere else. At that moment, he fired him. We'll discuss conflict of interest, SPA, and ethics soon. And he found out later, a year later, that this guy was still skimming off the top in the business. Startups getting recruited by up to 8 companies at a time. What did he do? He took action and exposed him on Twitter, which spread everywhere. Especially since many companies checked their employee lists to see if they had a Soham Parekh. Many said, oh, he works with us too. And many even started sending screenshots of their Zoom meetings or others where you can see a Soham Parekh who was really there. So what's happening? In reality, you know it, my friends, the recruitment system in companies has become completely inhuman. It has been dehumanized. It has become a kind of big joke, a useless, ineffective, and stressful joke for everyone. And in fact, it doesn't even guarantee companies will get the right people. And now, there are a lot of people taking advantage of it. Soham Parekh is just one example. Mr. Soham Parekh is just an illustration. Because on Reddit, there's a subreddit visited by 500,000 people. I'll send you the link. You could spend the whole evening on it. If you don't know about this thing, this phenomenon, you're going to be absolutely surprised. People with 2, 3, 4 jobs who make incredible amounts of money by working for several companies at the same time. So there are 2 categories of these people. There's a first category who works seriously. He works as seriously as Soham Parekh. He worked at 5, sometimes 8 companies simultaneously and did a good job at each. What he tells us among ourselves is that sometimes we discover a little bit of what we call bullshit jobs. It happened to me to be hired by a company, and then I finish my work in 45 minutes. My day's work sometimes takes me half an hour, sometimes 45 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes. And the rest of the day, what do? The rest of the day, I kill time. Still, when we're hired, what are we told? So here, it's very fast-paced, we're very busy, there are lots of things happening, we want people who give it their all, etc. You have to accept that it's over and there's nothing you can do. So 30 minutes, you finish your work. You can see that if you want to work 8 hours, you could easily sign 8 contracts somewhere else. You see, that's what Soham was doing. So there's another group, the other category, that isn't there to do any work and doesn't care about delivering results. What they do is they use artificial intelligence to get themselves hired. What does that mean? Recruitment meetings, interviews are done over Zoom. So the guy is there are 3 or 4 people with him in the Zoom, and then they're going to ask him questions, typically engineering or development questions, things like that. They give him problems to solve, that's it. And actually, they set up an artificial intelligence, which will, for the candidate, what is he going to do? He will set up an artificial intelligence that listens to the meeting and gives him the answers in real time. The artificial intelligence is actually viewing his screen as he shares it with the artificial intelligence. So the recruiter doesn't see any of this. There's no way for the recruiter to know. But in reality, on the candidate side, there's an artificial intelligence that's installed. This artificial intelligence is able to hear the conversation, but also to read the screen. And actually, for example, the recruiter will say, here, I'm going to give you a problem on the screen. Look, here's the situation. How do you see yourself? How are you going to handle it from here? And the artificial intelligence will overlay, like a teleprompter, give the answer to the candidate. So the candidate looks, pretends to think, yes, that's a very interesting question you're asking. So I would say personally, and there the artificial intelligence has already given the answer. And the recruiters are, wow, impressed. In reality, the answers are 100% driven by artificial intelligence. So once they sign, of course, these are people who don't have the skills for the job they're being interviewed for. So once they get hired, their goal isn't to last, it's not to deliver work or to last. They know, many people on Reddit know they'll get fired. It varies by company, usually between 1 and 3 months. Because they do nothing, absolutely nothing. They arrive in the morning, they log in, they're in the chat saying, hello, good morning. They send an email from time to time, trying to make it last. Some even outsource the tasks. Some, when they want to last a little longer, they outsource the tasks to external contractors who will be paid peanuts. They say, do this code for me, do this, make this presentation for me, finish this Excel for me. So they pass the information to people and those people do the work for them. There's a market for that. I was saying that what's extraordinary about Soham Parekh is that he managed to get different jobs. In an economic crisis where people, as I was just telling you, have trouble finding even one job, he finds 8. So I took a look at his approach, his technique, and he sends an email. So he sends his resume. He sends a motivation email, basically, to introduce himself. There are plenty of people who say, yeah, but the cover letter doesn't make any sense. No, it does make sense, the cover letter. Call it whatever you want. If you send your resume to a recruiter or a company boss to get hired, what do you say? What do you say? Are you going to tell them, resume attached, read it? No, you have to introduce yourself. You have to write a few lines. Those lines are known as the cover letter, but you can call them the introduction email, accompanying email, or anything you like. You have to have something to introduce yourself and also to introduce yourself verbally, because very often interviews can start like this. I've seen a lot of people, I don't do it myself when I conduct interviews, but there are people who start interviews like that. So you arrive, hello, and then can you introduce yourself? Should I give you 2 or 3 minutes? Can you just introduce yourself? Summarize your background for us a little bit. And if you haven't prepared your speech to talk about yourself, to highlight your skills, your motivation, the most important points of your background, well, you're going to say anything. You'll hesitate and all that. Later, when you leave, you'll regret not sharing certain experiences. You didn't think of it when the question surprised you, right? That's what he used to do. He sends the email, so he sends the email, okay? He writes the email listing his skills and in particular references. I worked for this, and this company. So he quickly gives the names of companies that are in the same field. These are companies that are more into artificial intelligence. They're startups. Today, a lot of startups are working in artificial intelligence. But what I found impressive, what I found interesting in his email is that he doesn't start like that. In the email, he greets, introduces himself, lists his skills, qualities, and past workplaces. But be careful, that's not the beginning of the email. Above the email, he puts 3 lines. There's no hello or anything. What did he put? Too long, didn't read too long. So, TLDR. He puts the 4 letters TLDR. It means it's too long, I didn't read it. We usually send it as a reply to a text that's too long. If someone sends us an email that's, let's say, like a novel by Zola, if we're in a hurry, we can just reply with those 4 letters. It means your email is too long, I didn't read it. So what does he do? He puts 3 lines above the email, explaining by making a very blunt summary of his email. So it starts with those 3 lines. There you go. He says, my name is Soham, I don't know. He throws out something like, something weird, but it works, or something like that. I don't know how to dance, I don't have a hobby, I don't play any sports. I only know one thing in life, I'm really good at coding. Actually, he says, I'm bad at everything in my life, but I'm good at one thing, developing coding. And I want to take part in projects that I can take from 0 to 1, or from 1 to 100. Whatever that means, right? He's ready to work on projects, no matter what stage they're at. Those are the first 3 lines, and after that, a space. Hello, my name is. And here, he's going to introduce himself properly and everything and elaborate. You see what I mean? So with this email, which looks pretty strange, he managed to attract a lot of attention from a huge number of people. If I needed a job tomorrow, I'd use this format. Because obviously, it works. Obviously, it works. So there you go. Now, there was a story. There are people who say it's not ethical. All right, let's be clear. These people who get hired in several places at the same time, without the intention of working, just the intention of taking money and getting fired, that's not ethical. I agree. I don't think that's ethically justifiable. I agree. It's not ethical, but it's not monstrous either, right? It's not a crime against humanity, but at the same time, ethically. Even if it's not theft or fraud, there would still be some resemblance. That's it. Now, people who really work for 5 companies and satisfy each one, delivering to each what they ask for. I don't see the problem. Personally, I don't see the problem, okay? Take, I don't know, Elon Musk, for example. How many startup companies is Elon Musk involved in? How many companies is he the boss of? He is the boss or involved in one way or another in a bunch of established companies and startups. Why? Would there be an ethical problem for him? And look, a lot of big company bosses are on the board of this one. They're the right-hand man of that one, the advisor to another, and so on. Why is there one rule for them and another for us? Why have ethics at all? To favor them and support ethics for those struggling? All right? No. As long as he did the work and the companies were satisfied, he didn't scam anyone. And of course, he has the right to leverage or maximize the potential of his knowledge. If he joins a company and they place him in an office, then see he arrives at 9, then 10 o'clock. He's done for the day. What will he do next? Will he read Wikipedia? Is he going to play Tetris online? I mean, at some point, the guy is at the peak of his career, of his skills. Well, that's it. He's going to look for work somewhere else. But honestly, that's just it. These companies deserve it in a way. They deserve it because we have companies that fire people while they're working from home and they go recruit far away, right? They go recruit people they don't know from very far away. Well, sometimes they run into trouble. And personally, I find their misfortunes amusing. Even though it's not right to laugh at other people's problems, it still makes me laugh. You can book a session for whatever you want and you look behind me. The environment has changed a little bit because I changed countries, I changed continents. I even changed hemispheres. I'm now living in Mauritius and have only been here a few days. It's winter here, okay? So it's a bit chilly outside, about 20 degrees, which is like spring in the United Kingdom. Well, my friends, thank you for watching so far, and I'll see you in the next one.